Ever since we learned about Knull, God of the Symbiotes, appearing in Venom the Last Dance, the hype and anticipation has been building around this movie. And now it looks like the director of the movie has come out and teased us about the potential future plot lines of Knull, God of the Symbiotes, and if the rumours are to be believed, he may be popping up in Spider-Man 4. So let's jump into this terrific article here from comicbookmovie.com. Let's break down what the director had to say about Knull, God of the Symbiotes in Venom 3 and see what's going on with the potential future of this villain. So, Venom the Last Dance director, Kelly Marcel, says Knull is not a one and done villain, God is coming. So, one of the biggest fears that I had ever since we learned about Knull appearing in this movie is that he was going to be a one and done villain. That was my biggest fear, that he would appear in this one movie, be killed off, and then we'd never hear about it again. Obviously, in the comic books, he's a deity, he's a galactic threat, he's a big villain when it comes to Venom, so it's great to hear that he's not going to be a one-and-done villain, that there is a potential future for this character crossing over into the MCU, and hopefully he gets done justice and appears in Spider-Man 4. I would love that, and I'm sure you guys would as well. But that's enough of me talking. Let's get into this article, and let's break down the details. So, interesting, Venom the Last Dance has greatly increased since we learned of plans of Knull, like I was just saying. God of the Symbiotes to appear in the prequel. With this movie billed as the epic conclusion to the trilogy, many fans have wondered why the villain is being introduced now, particularly as the previous installments did very little to tease his existence. Talking to IGN, writer and director Kelly Marcel dropped several teasers, including the fact that Patrick Mulligan is returning with a symbiote and the different agendas Chiwetel Ejiofor and Juno Temple's characters have. After Carnage, the filmmaker says they wanted to, quote, step up our game with a threat in this movie, so we brought out the big guns to bring a much bigger challenge, not only to Eddie and Venom, but to our world. The challenge is the aforementioned Knull, with this movie serving as just the beginning for him. So, if he's just the beginning, obviously we know that Venom 3 is going to be the last Venom movie in this trilogy of Venom movies. Tom Hardy has come out and confirmed that he won't be returning to this role, although I'm dubious about that. If this movie generates a whole lot of money, I think Tom Hardy will be back. That could just be a misdirect on his part. We don't actually know. We've seen actors lie before. Andrew Garfield and Spider-Man. But yeah, so if this is just the beginning for the Knull, God of the Symbiotes character, if there's going to be no more Venom movies, with Tom Hardy at least, then the only other place that he could really pop up that makes sense would be the next Spider-Man movie. Obviously, there's tons of rumors swirling on social media circles about Spider-Man 4 now being a kind of a galactic movie rather than a street-level crime movie. So, the potential for Knull to pop up in Spider-Man 4 and face off against Tom Holland in some way, shape, or form, I think is really, really exciting. And I think a lot of fans would really like that. So, let's keep going with the director's quotes. So, quote, trust me, we know full well how important Knull is to the fans, absolutely. So just as we laid a foundation for Venom, we hope we are doing the same for Knull, Marcel teases. The King in Black is way too powerful for one and done. That's what I've been saying ever since I learned about him being in this movie. This film introduces Knull, but it just touches on the beginning of his story. Marvel's greatest film villains are developed over time. Here, Knull is the threat lurking behind the danger that tests the absolute limits of Eddie and Venom's partnership. But it's their relationship that remains the heart of the story, she continues. From the beginning, Tom and I always envisioned that this particular Eddie Venom story would be told in 3 parts, and the story arc would climax with the 3rd film for reasons the movie will reveal. So again, it teases the Knull character going forward, saying that the King in Black is way too powerful for a one and done, so he's definitely going to be appearing in more films. The film introduces Knull, but just touches on the beginnings of his story. So this is literally going to be a sneak peek of Knull, and potentially where his character could be going in the future, a la Spider-Man 4. But then again, that's just rumours. He could pop up in potentially the next Avengers movie, although I'm not sure that he would. It seems like there's a lot going on with obviously Doctor Doom showing up. So are they going to want to put Knull in there as well? I'm not sure. Unless Knull and Doctor Doom team up, which would be all kinds of crazy. But yeah, potentially Spider-Man 4. So if this is truly the end of Tom Hardy as Venom, again, I keep saying this, I keep going back to it. If this Venom 3 movie generates a shit ton of money, then I think Tom Hardy will be back. They'll back up a dump truckload of money to his house to get him to come back for another movie. And potentially he could pop up in the next Avengers movie. Then why add Knull to the mix now? So let me start that again. if this is truly the end of Tom Hardy's Venom, then why add Knull to the mix now? Exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? So as the fans know, there are many more symbiote stories. The universe is wide and rich, and one movie could never do justice to Knull, Marcel states. Beyond this trilogy, there are more stories to explore. God is coming. Yeah, one movie won't do him justice. He's a galactic threat. He's probably a bigger threat to the world than possibly what Thanos was. If you had Thanos minus the Infinity Gauntlet, then Knull, he's a galactic entity. He's like evil, incorporated, in charge of the symbiotes. He's got so much power. The Necro Sword obviously plays into it as well, for those of you who know what the Necro Sword is. So this is the part of the article where it gets even more interesting. So the question is he coming to Spider-Man 4? This is one of the most anticipated potential plot lines of Knull going into the future that fans have at the moment. So that's the rumour, though, that Venom The Last Dance director was giving nothing away in that respect, though there's much of what's been rumoured is seemingly confirmed here. She did, however, confirm that Rhys Ifans isn't playing a variant of Dr. Curtis Connors in the movie. So, Rhys Ifans, the guy who played Dr. Kurt Connors in Spider-Man, you know, the Andrew Garfield movies, he's cast in this movie, but he's not playing that same Dr. Kurt Connors, the lizard that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man fought in his movie. So he is cast in this movie, but he is playing a different character. So, quote, "It's not uncommon for actors to be cast in different Marvel characters across various films. This is no different," Marcel explains. "The best actors for the roles were cast, and Rhys is no exception. He plays a new and different character in a really fun and important role, and I'm so excited for people's reactions to his wonderful performance." So guys, before we finish off the video, an article was posted updating Venom 3's opening box office weekend projections. So I wanted to quickly dive into this with you guys and show you what the potential projections for the opening weekend of Venom 3 is going to be. So updated box office tracking is in, and according to Deadline, Sony Pictures' Frequel looks set to open with a $70 million weekend when it arrives in theaters on October 25th. That's only 10 days from now, guys. Wow, this movie has really snuck upon us, you know? So while this wouldn't be a bad debut by any means, it would still be the second best opening of 2024 for a comic book feature after Deadpool and Wolverine's $211.4 million. That movie did insane. It's absolutely crazy how much money that movie made. Not that there was much in the way of competition out there. It would mark the lowest opening of the franchise. The first Venom took $80.2 million in 2018, while the more positively received sequel, 2021 Let There Be Carnage, made $90 million. So it looks like it's going to be the lowest opening of the franchise with $70 million, but still, in the way of opening weekends, it's going to be one of the best of the year. But $70 million is going to be the lowest. But opening weekends don't necessarily mean that the movie is going to make less money overall when it all is said and done. Hopefully this movie, as the crescendo of the trilogy of the Venom movies, hopefully it does great at the box office, and potentially a great box office revenue could pull Tom Hardy back in for more Venom movies. We'll have to wait and see. A couple of new stills from Venom The Last Dance have been revealed, which you can see below. So also there was rumors and speculation that Andy Serkis, obviously the famous actor behind the Gollum character in the Lord of the Rings movies, he's apparently playing Knull, God of the Symbiotes, in this movie. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but having him playing Knull, I think would be pretty cool. Andy Serkis, he's a great actor, and he does great with the motion capture. So if he is playing Knull, then that would be a fantastic choice. So we got some new stills here. Obviously, just Venom, up close look of his kind of his head and his torso here. I love the design of this Venom. That kind of slimy texture on his skin. Almost looks like that kind of wet, kind of like leather kind of look. They did a great job with this Venom design. Ever since the first Venom movie, I thought he looked terrific. Looks like he's ripped straight out of the comics. And then we got another picture here, and it just looks like he's in action. It looks like he's you know, scared by something. That big xenophage, that big monster in the trailers coming towards him, and I think he's trying to jump out the way, or he looks like he's shocked to some degree. But yeah, to see Venom scared of something, that's quite funny in my opinion. But yeah, so that's kind of where we are, guys. So yeah, Kelly Marcel comes out, and the director of Venom 3, and basically says that Knull is not going to be a one and done villain, that this is just the beginning. We're just touching on the beginnings of his story, which to a lot of people basically says his story is not going to be done in this movie, and he's going to be popping up in the future. And the only other place that makes sense, like I keep saying, is Spider-Man 4, or potentially the next Avengers movie. Although that would be kind of overstuffed to have Knull and Doctor Doom in there. So more than likely going to be Spider-Man 4, which I'm super excited for. I know you guys would be super excited to have Tom Holland against Knull, God of the Symbiotes, and potentially have Venom in there as well. There's rumors about a Venom and Spider-Man team up against Knull. That would be pretty badass. But guys, I throw it off to you. What do you think about this? Are you more excited to see Venom: The Last Dance after you found out that the appearance of Knulls is going to be in this movie? And what do you think about Knulls' potential story or plotline going forward? Do you think he'll appear in Spider-Man 4? Do you think he'll appear in the Avengers? Whatever your thoughts are, post them down below, guys. Put your thoughts, comments, and opinions. Can't wait to read them. Thanks so much for being here and watching this video. I do appreciate that. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in the next one.